Your number 11 Texas Tech Red Raiders are set to invade H-Town to face off against an undefeated Houston Cougars squad. In today's video, we'll preview the matchup, what Texas Tech needs to do down in H-Town to come back to Lubbock undefeated. We'll look at what players you need to know for the Cougars, as well as the latest odds and my score prediction. Let's get it. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Red and Black Report. Appreciate y'all tuning in to today's video. The Red Raiders put that bye week in the rearview mirror, and now they're focused on a team in Houston that, rightfully so, has to be taken seriously. This is a really, really good defensive team. We'll look at those numbers here in just a bit. But before we do, I want you to tell me, before we even talk about Houston, before we even look at the odds, or even I give my score prediction, I would love to hear yours down on the pinned comment below. Let me know your score prediction for number 11 Texas Tech at undefeated Houston down in H-Town. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this and look at some of the numbers that I think are relevant in this matchup. As you can see, Texas Tech is the number one scoring offense in the Big 12, averaging 52 points per game. Pretty damn good. The interesting part of it is this: Houston is, well, the second best scoring defense in terms of they don't let people score very much. 9.7 points per game. Texas Tech not too far behind at 11.3. But we go ahead and look at other aspects of this, and let's look at totals, right? Texas Tech in terms of yards, the best offense in the Big 12. Not really that close, but it is pretty interesting to see on the other side. Houston, the best defense in terms of yards allowed per game, 224. So we're literally talking about the best offensive unit in the Big 12, the Texas Tech Red Raiders, against the best defensive unit in the Big 12 in the Houston Cougars. It should be absolute cinema. And it's going to even be more interesting from the standpoint of Texas Tech stole Houston's defensive coordinator. Sheil Wood is now obviously the coordinator on the defensive side of the football for Texas Tech. You bring over the Cougars' best defensive player from a year ago, at least arguably, I would say so, and A.J. Holmes Jr., who is a backup now for the Red Raiders on the defensive line. But Houston, we'll talk about some of that defensive line replacements that they have this year. They're pretty damn good. When it comes to running the football, Texas Tech, they're pretty solid. I mean, fifth in the Big 12. Houston not too far behind. In fact, only about 3.2 yards behind per game at seventh in the Big 12. When it comes to defense, this is the big difference here. Texas Tech only allows 56.3 yards per game on the ground. Houston allows 104. That might be an interesting part to watch because we'll talk about some of the key playmakers on the offensive side of the football for Houston, and a lot of their damage is done on the ground. When it comes to the passing game, the Red Raiders have the best passing offense in the Big 12. Well, Houston has the best passing defense in the Big 12, only allowing teams to throw 120 yards through the air. Texas Tech on average just under 370 yards per game on that front. When it comes to offensive efficiency, this is also interesting. Texas Tech with the second most efficient offense in the Big 12 at 186.7. Houston has the best defensive efficiency in the Big 12 at 87.1. So really, this is a strength-on-strength type matchup, and I really think the biggest difference in this matchup for really either squad may not even be the Texas Tech offense against the Houston defense, I should say. I think really this game is going to be won by the Texas Tech defense, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit more in depth in terms of why I think that. But let's get to know the Houston Cougars a little bit, shall we? Here are the key stats and playmakers you need to know. You see them on your screen. Connor Wigman, you may know him or at least recognize that name. He started his career at Texas A&M and stayed in the Lone Star State, transferred to a Big 12 school down there for Coach Fritz in H-Town, and is the starting quarterback there. A former five-star recruit, actually, was Connor Wigman. He's had a solid season so far, just under 840 passing yards, 6 TDs through the air, 1 interception. He has been sacked 9 times. But really the big aspect of Connor Wigman is the fact that he is a true dual threat quarterback. Okay, he's carried the ball 40 times, 141 yards rushing, nothing crazy, 3.5 yards per carry there. But it's the fact that you have to account for that. And there are key plays in the Houston playbook that make sure Connor Wigman is in the proper position to succeed and get him out into space where he can make the decision to pass or he can use his legs. Now, When it comes to the traditional running aspect of it, Dean Connors is their lead back, 67 carries on the year, 324 yards on the ground with 3 touchdowns, averaging just south of 5 yards a carry. We scroll on down to the receiving side of things, and really the guy you need to know is their tight end. I mean, he is a bona fide star. Tanner Colesla right there, he's 23 catches, 234 yards receiving. He is the definition, in my opinion, of maybe the best tight end in the country. No shade to anybody else. I mean, he's really good. But he's the security blanket for Connor Wigman, and he is a guy that you need to know where he is at all times. Now, Stephen Johnson, he is a guy that you can obviously see. He takes the top off of a defense. 8 catches, 235 yards receiving, averaging just under 30 yards per catch. Obviously, one of those catches is 74 yards. He has 2 TDs on the year. Now, we move on to the defensive side, and the 2 guys that I need you to pay attention to here, in my opinion, and I should give Jalen Garner some credit here. He's a really good linebacker. But the 2 guys on the defense for the Cougars that stand out to me most on tape is right there in the middle of their defensive line, and it's Carlos Allen Jr. He leads this team in tackles with 30. Hella impressive stuff right there from an interior defensive lineman. And then Khalil Lafu, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. You can roast me in the comments if I just butchered it. I apologize if I did. I probably butchered the tight end's last name as well. But no harm, no foul, okay? Definitely messed some names up. Call me out if I did and let me know how to pronounce it correctly, especially for Khalil. Those 2 guys right there, in my opinion, create one of the better duos in the interior of the defensive line in the Big 12 easily, and really are maybe one of the most underrated interior defensive line duos in the country. Now, they can move around, but they really wreak havoc on the interior of offensive lines, and it's the reason why there hasn't been a substantial drop-off for Texas Tech in terms of, well, Houston, I should say. Sorry, the Houston defensive line. There hasn't been a drop-off for them. And that's something that really has stood out because you think about it, you would think there would be a pretty sizable drop-off because the tie-in to Texas Tech here, Sheil Wood left, right? And he was a guy that every year he seems to always get his defenses right? And so you would think there'd be a drop-off for Houston. There has not been. Coach Fritz has done a phenomenal job over there at making sure that defense is leading the way in terms of winning football games for Houston. And later on in the week, we'll have the power rankings for the Big 12. I think Houston, we'll talk about my score prediction too in this video. I don't think they win this game, but I think that they're a pretty solid team overall, even after what happened to them at Oregon State this past weekend where they had to go to overtime, but you still win those type of games. That's pretty impressive in my book. Now, when we look at the odds for this one, this is where things are interesting because we're going to have to go on a journey with me real quick. And by the way, if you haven't already, let me know your score prediction for number 11, Texas Tech at Houston. Okay, you see it on your screen right there, right? Line as it currently stands right now at the time of this recording is 11.5. That is not where it opened. It opened at 8.5. It is shocking when a line jumps that much, okay? So this line has jumped a full 3 points since, well, it opened. And that's something that typically does not happen, okay? It does not. And there were some books, as you can see, Hard Rock actually has this game at 12.5. And then you've got, other sites that are at 12. We'll see where it ends up, but 11.5 feels right in this one. So you look at the implied point totals here and you think about it, it's like that 17-18 range in terms of Houston, and then Texas Tech, in that 30 range when it's all said and done in terms of the half aspect of it. And for me, when I look at this for Texas Tech, I already mentioned this is going to be strength on strength in terms of a really good offense, and it sounds like Baron Morton will be the starting quarterback for Texas Tech in this one. Joey McGuire, at his opening Houston week presser, said that Baron Morton was a full participant in Sunday's shell practice, which means they were wearing pads and helmets, and it sounds like he's good to go for this Houston game. Now, if things change, we'll obviously let you know here on the channel, but I would be pretty surprised at this point, as it sounds like they were being uber precautious with him, and Hammond ended up looking pretty damn good out in Salt Lake City. That being said, it's strength on strength, right? Houston's defense is really good and Texas Tech's offense is really good. Let's just say that those things, cancel out each other. I don't believe that. I think Texas Tech is really the first true test for this Houston defense, but nonetheless, okay? Texas Tech defense against the Houston offense, it's going to be a nightmare fuel type situation, in my opinion, for Connor Wigman. He's a good quarterback. There's no denying that, but he has not seen a pass rush like this all year and nothing really even substantially close to it, okay? Now, that being said, you're going to have to do some similar things to what you did to Devin Dampier in the sense of if you make Connor Wigman a passing quarterback first and disallow him to use his legs, well, you're going to be in a really good position, okay? I'm not saying you do exactly what you did against Utah because Devin Dampier and then you've obviously got Connor Wigman. They are both different quarterbacks in terms of really their size and what they do well in terms of the passing game, right? But if you limit the opportunities for him to get out of the pocket, have those extra, off-scripted plays and create an extra third down conversion or two for the Cougars offense, that's the ideal situation for Houston. That being said, I think Texas Tech has done a phenomenal job at really coaching up their edges, Romello Height and David Bailey, who, truth be told, had some major question marks coming into this season in the run game specifically. If that Utah game is any indication of what Texas Tech is getting from those two in the run game, buckle up, Big 12, because you're going to be able to do nothing up against this Texas Tech defense, unless it's really just a play that's broken and it goes your way if you're the opposition. This Texas Tech defense, I think, dominates Houston, okay? I really, truly believe Texas Tech goes down to H-Town and just sends an absolute message, again, in prime time, this time at 6 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. And I get it, it's 11.5. The over-under is set at 50.5 right now. I think Texas Tech covers the 11.5 pretty easily in this one. I think Texas Tech wins this game 34-17. They double up Houston in this one. I think Texas Tech is thoroughly better than Houston. I think that Texas Tech has the better defense and a defensive first matchup. I think the Texas Tech offense is substantially better than the Houston offense. I mean, I just think Texas Tech is better. Now, I will say this. Could this be a letdown game for the Red Raiders? In years past, I would have said, yeah, I think this could be a letdown game, especially after the kind of win that you put on tape out in Utah. But I don't think that this team is like that. I think that this team is literally so focused on getting Texas Tech to where they really haven't been, that there is no such thing as a trap game. They are focused each and every week on the opponent ahead of them, not looking forward, not looking in the past. They are focused on Houston, and I think that's a scary proposition for the Cougars down in Houston, as I, again, think Texas Tech doubles up Houston in this one, 34-17. All right, before we head out of here, one more time, let me know your score prediction for number 11 Texas Tech down at Houston. Again, 34-17 for me. Let me know if I'm off base, but I feel pretty confident in this team, and I'll tell you this, they're going to have to change a lot for me to pick against them any game the remainder of this season. All right, I'm RC Maxfield reminding you, if you want 100% free Texas Tech football and men's basketball content, the Red Raiders tip off their season, in about a month, right? This is the place for you, right? We'll keep you covered, whether it's on the gridiron, hardwood, the portal, high school recruiting, or any other news you need to know about Texas Tech football or men's basketball, right here on the largest independent Texas Tech YouTube channel, almost 13,000 strong. That's the goal. Help us get to 13K before the tip-off of basketball season. I believe in Red Raider Nation. I know y'all got me. Help me out, all right? Appreciate y'all tuning in. Again, let me know your score prediction down on the pinned comment below. And I'm RC Maxfield reminding you, as always, stay safe and Rec 'em Tech.